So my name is François Prol. I'm a QA engineer at Jahia, and today I will present to you how we use Selenium for our regression tests. So the summary, I will quickly introduce Selenium for the one who may not know what it is. Then I will tell you how we started using Selenium at Jahia, the issue we faced, and how we solved them using what I've called the content objects approach. And at the end of this presentation, I will give you an example of a project so you can start testing your module with Selenium or websites too. So what is Selenium? So Selenium is a test automation tool for websites and web applications. So basically, it simulates the interaction of a user with a website. It's open source, and you can write tests in different languages, for example, Java, C#, Groovy. If you want more information, you can check out their website. So some history. At Jahia, we started using Selenium for our regression tests in 2011. And when we started, we didn't have any experience with it. So we wrote our first test using Selenium IDE. So Selenium IDE is a Firefox plugin that allows you to record all your action on a website. So when you click on links, when you submit forms, it will record that and generate test scripts that you will be able to execute against your browser again and again. So it's a very convenient tool to start with Selenium, but quickly we'll find the need to write functions because you don't want to record the login step at the beginning of all of your tests. So the more we record and write tests, the more we need to write functions. And then we started to organize them into libraries. So I call a library a class with different functions. And we quickly stopped using Selenium IDE to record the test. It was straight writing code. So the number of functions and libraries kept growing and growing. So that was our issue when we wanted to write new tests at some point. We had way too many functions. Our library were not defined well enough. So we spent a lot of time trying to find a good function. And one of these reasons was we had two kinds of functions in our classes. So some were nice, so they were for content creation. For example, create a user account. So if in my test I need a new user can use this function. But some functions in this library include a test logic. So for example, right under my create user account, I have the method create user account and verify the creation. It's not good because this function will be used in one test when I want to verify the user creation form. So it has nothing to do in that kind of library. So this is an example of an old test where we just basically create a new page under the home page of the website. Then we add a rich text in this page. We publish the page. And we go in live mode on our page and verify that the text is displayed. So it took us 4 different libraries, plus the Selenium object, which we use for low-level interaction, just clicks and typing content. And I just want to point out this functions object. So the type is basic Selenium functions, and the only basic thing in it is the name, because it's our tool class. We have everything in it. For example, we have a method to type a text in the CK editor, then to click on the save button in the edit engine. So it makes sense to have these two methods in the same library. But we also found a method to go in the live mode of a website and also to do the assertion and to verify if a text is displayed or not. So we needed to find a way to make it easier for us to write Selenium tests. So in Selenium, there's I would say, the classical design pattern is page object. So page object is the idea is to create one class per page of your website. So it makes it easy when your test fail on one class, you know directly which page is involved on your website. And in the other way, if you edit or change one of your page, you know directly what class you need to update in your test. So that works fine for websites. For Digital Factory, well, it's not a real website. It's a complex application. So we went with the idea of content objects. So why content objects? We had, in most of our tests, I would say like maybe 90% of them, we use editorial content, either to verify if it's displayed when we set different permissions, or if you want just to test the creation of a new content. Its contents are involved in most of our tests. So here's the simplified class diagram. So we've easily find all our editorial content, and we have two kind of content a bit on the side. We have the page on the side. The idea is in the edit mode, you will manipulate all this content the same way. So for example, you will set permissions or visibility conditions on the page the same way as on a rich text or on a news on an event. So we just develop such methods at the content level in the content abstract class. And then if I need to create a new content class, I will not have to rewrite any function to do the command operations. And it works also for the publication of a content. Well, we have a set of methods implemented. So the idea behind that is to separate the data creation and the test logic. So no more create user account and verify its creation. The idea was really to write a framework to interact with Digital Factory. So basically, it's just writing an API to use Digital Factory. So it will make the writing test way easier. As I said, we want to separate the test logic. So we won't have a method called test deletion for our news. We just in our test use news.delete and then do the assertion to verify if the content is displayed or not. So all the specific test steps and the verification will be developed in my test class. In my model, I will only develop common methods for any kind of content. Also, every content class I will find in them a method just to verify if the content is displayed or not. This has two main reasons for it. The first one is for maintenance reason. So if a developer just changed the view of one of my content, it can happen. We have to change it in one class. We don't have to go through all the tests using this type of content. And also, when I'm writing my tests, I don't want to open Firebug and go and look at every tag that should appear on the page when I'm making a verification. So once I've done it once, I don't have to do it again. So the idea is just to get rid of what is painful when you write a Selenium test. So the advantages is when we came with that model, so it was a year ago, we reused all the functions we already developed. So we didn't have to start from scratch, and all the tests we have already had, we didn't need to do any refactor on them. So we had, at the time, maybe 150, I don't remember. So that my manager could appreciate that. And for me, the biggest point, the most interesting one, is that the tests become way more readable. This is the same test with my page creation than to add the rich text. Well, if you know Digital Factory, you know nothing about developing or testing, you can understand what I'm doing here. So the way we develop our Selenium test works well for us because we are testing Digital Factory features. it's probably not the best approach for site testing or module testing. In that case, you may want to go with page objects. You may also think like using such a design pattern may be too much for your one module. But if you write your one Selenium test for your one module, and then you create another module, and you want another Selenium test to test that module, you will want to reuse the function you've developed in your first test. And if you don't do a better job as we did, like organizing your functions into good libraries, it will be a mess, as it was for us. So going with page object is a smart move since the beginning. And then you will be able to reuse it if you need to write tests for your site. So here's an example. So you will be able to find the code sources and the site exports on my repository. The idea here is just to verify that when we perform a search, just the content which is should appear in the result appears. Like, if a user doesn't have permission on the content, it shouldn't appear in the search result, as well as if the content is not current as a visibility condition, so it's not displayed currently in live, it shouldn't appear in the search result. So for that, I've created a simple test site. So it comes with 3 different users, 4 pages. So we have the home page, the search result page, then the permission page, and the visibility page. So the permission page, I've just created one rich text in it, and I've set different permissions for my different user on the page and on the rich text. Then in the visibility page, there are 2 rich texts. So one is visible only from Monday to Friday, and the other one only on Sundays. I will execute my tests only from Monday to Friday. So I don't want to see the result for the text, which is only displayed on Sunday. As I said, it's based on page objects, so I have one package corresponding to my website. So we can find the 4 classes corresponding to my 4 pages. They all extend the page-based class. Why that? Just because you can see in my templates, I have the simple search form and the login form, which are shared with every page of my site. So I will develop methods to log in and perform search at the page-based level. And since we're in the Jahia world, everything is module. So I've created a class to interact with my simple search form module and the login form, put them in my a module package so I can reuse them for other websites if I need to. This is another example of code. So it's maybe not the most interesting. Just the concept of page object is when you perform a search, it will return an object of the type corresponding to your page. So in your website, when you search content, then you'll be redirected to the search result page. So when I perform the search from my home page, it returns me an object of the type search result page. Then I didn't provide the code to verify the result, but basically I will just do an assertion to verify if my content is displayed and it should be displayed, or to verify that it's not displayed if it shouldn't be displayed. Well, at Jahia, we use Atlas and Bamboo to run our test, so it will deploy Digital Factory nightly on an application server, then run the test. So we'll find the reports. When the test fails, we have the stack trace. We have some artifacts, so we have screenshots, the server log files. We also can record a video execution of a test if needed. Yep. So my conclusion is it's easy to maintain couple Selenium tests, but when you have hundreds of them, it may be more tricky and hard. So you better have a good solution for it, like a good approach, and try to think ahead. So while I answer questions, if you want, I will just show you a video execution of a Selenium test. So, well, do you have any question? Everything was clear? Well, the test does nothing. It browses the different interfaces and verifies that all the labels are loaded in every languages. It's not a fancy test.